Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Alexa's Garden. I want to ask, do you grow tomato seedlings? Do you know how to repot tomato seedlings for bigger and better plants? This video has a complete demonstration of how to transplant tomato seedlings from 2-inch tomato plants to 10 inches. Learn how to grow large tomato plants by transplanting tomato seedlings using larger pots for transplanting. Transplanting tomatoes is an important matter for the gardener, on which the future harvest depends. Diving tomatoes accelerates the growth of the root system of plants. Tomatoes become stronger and grow better. When should I move tomato seedlings to bigger pots? How big should seedlings be before transplanting? There is an important rule here. After planting, each tomato plant should already have 2 to 3 true leaves, except for the cotyledon. Real leaves are a sign of sufficient development of the root system for transplantation. Tomato is a thermophilic plant. If you sow the seeds in warm soil, moisten with warm water, and maintain the temperature at plus 25 to 30 degrees Celsius, 77 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit, then seedlings appear 3 to 4 days after sowing. What size pots for potting on tomato seedlings? I usually sow the seeds in small plastic containers with a lid, or directly in 3 by 3 cm or 1.2 by 1.2 inch plastic cassettes. What is the best soil for potting up tomato seedlings? For sowing tomatoes, it is better to use a loose, nutrient-rich substrate of peat, biohumus and vermiculite or perlite. What size pots to use for the first transplant? The optimal volume of the pot is approximately 200 to 300 milliliters or not less than the volume of 1 cup. But if you have a little space for tomatoes, you can even use small pots, half the size. But the plants will have to be fed twice as often. After germination, the air temperature should be lowered by about 5 degrees and good round-the-clock lighting for seedlings should be provided for about 2 weeks. If you did sowing tomatoes in shallow containers and there are a lot of plants in them, you need to transplant tomatoes as early as possible. In this case, the seedlings will not be long, leggy. I often get asked one important question. Why do I have long, leggy seedlings? Not enough light is one of the common problems when growing seedlings. The most common reason is insufficient lighting for the proper development of seedlings. Sometimes there are too many plants in one seedling container. Additional lighting and transplanting will help prevent the development of long seedlings. Fluorescent lights are usually placed 2 to 4 inches above the tops of the seedlings. Also, make sure your bulbs aren't too old. With age, fluorescent lamps lose some of their brightness. If you have long seedlings, transplanting should also be done as early as possible for the proper development of seedlings. I use soil for transplanting, which is rich in nutrients and has a natural baking powder, perlite or vermiculite. The tomato seedling must be deepened into the soil so that the topsoil is slightly lower than the cotyledon. This planting prevents long seedlings in the future. The plant will form a root system in a deep layer of soil. The roots will be powerful and branched. Once the transplant is complete, the soil needs to be moistened to create a new clod of soil around the root. In this case, I use warm, slightly acidified water. The acidifier may be succinic acid or citric acid. For the good development of tomato plants, it is very important to maintain the required level of soil acidity. The optimal acidity of the soil for growing tomato seedlings is 6 to 6.8. After transplanting, I place the plants in a shaded area for 12 to 24 hours so that the tomatoes come out of stress. If you have weak plants, you can immediately make the first dressing with phosphorus-potassium fertilizers to develop the root system. But we'll talk about that in the next video. Thank you for watching. Take a minute to subscribe to my channel. See you.